All right, let's dive into a story. It's almost like a prophecy, really, all about the world of geospatial data. It's a tale of a long, hard struggle, followed by this sudden, kind of crazy rupture, and then the dawn of a completely new era. So let's get into it.
It all starts with this one line. It was a prediction, a prediction of a moment when everything would just shift. A moment when, quote, something glorious between knowledge and craziness would happen. For the longest time, it was just an idea. And then, well, it became our reality.
But here's the thing. Before you get to that glorious event, there was a long, long period of just toil. To really get what this new dawn is all about, you first have to understand the long night that came before it. This was the 20-year battle.
For 2 whole decades, if you worked with geospatial data, with GIS, you knew this struggle. I mean, you lived it. It was a constant fight, wrestling with these super complex data pipelines, mountains of demanding code, and systems that, yeah, they were powerful, but man, they were unforgiving. Every bit of progress was won the hard way.
You can even break this period down into phases, kind of like acts in a play. The first decade, that was the age of pipelines. It was all about building the massive, complex systems just to handle the data. The second decade threw us right into what you could call the coding wars, just writing endless scripts to try and make sense of it all. And those final years, that was a pure struggle against the sheer overwhelming size and complexity of the data itself.
And then, after 2 decades of this slow, grinding effort, the prophecy came true. The long battle didn't just quietly end. No way. It was completely shattered by a single, massive event, the Great Rupture.
Everything that had defined that 20-year struggle was about to change. In a single moment, the entire rulebook was just thrown out the window.
And here's the date, November 30th, 2022. This was the day ChatGPT was released to the public. This was the moment the prophecy was fulfilled. This is when that something glorious between knowledge and craziness actually happened. It was the turning point, the line in the sand that divided the entire world of geospatial AI into a before and an after.
And the shift was profound. I mean, look at this. We went from the long battle, which was all about hard-earned knowledge and a predictable step-by-step struggle, to this new era. An era sparked by a glorious event, mixing all that old knowledge with a huge dose of craziness and just unleashing this wave of totally unpredictable change.
But a change this big doesn't bring instant clarity. In fact, it's pretty much the opposite. The first light of this new dawn, it casts some really long, really dark shadows. It got messy. So the prophecy, or the story, it suggests that for the years right after that date, a kind of darkness took over. Now, this wasn't a darkness because nothing was happening. It was a darkness because everything was happening. It was just an overwhelming storm of hype, of confusion, of noise. And this chaos, it looked like a few different things. You had these tangled rivers of code flowing absolutely everywhere, promising magic, but a lot of the time leading nowhere. You had these extravagant fake ideas that grabbed everyone's attention. It was a total storm of possibility for sure, but a storm is messy, right? And it's really hard to find your way when you're in the middle of one.
But the storm is passing. The noise is finally starting to fade. We're now entering a whole new phase. After the long battle and after the chaos, the time has finally come to actually reap the fruits of this new world. The era of frantic energy, of just chasing every single new, shiny object, that's over. The prophecy says that the time has now arrived to speak slowly, to think clearly, and to act with real intention.
So this new path, it basically requires 3 steps. First, we gotta discard the hype. Just let it go. All that noise that defined the last few years. Second, we have to speak slowly, meaning we act with deliberation, with focus, with clear intent. And only then can we get to that final, most important step, reaping the real, tangible value that this new era is promising us. And this brings us to the final, and honestly, maybe the most important part of the whole prophecy. Who is actually ready to lead the way? Who can navigate this new landscape and bring in that harvest?
The story calls them the initiates. So who are they? They're the veterans. They're the ones who survived, who endured that 20-year battle. They are the folks who came from that long path of struggle, who actually understand the fundamentals, and who weren't distracted by that crazy storm of hype. And this is the final piece of the puzzle. The prophecy is crystal clear. Only those who came from this path, from that struggle, can truly lead right now.
Their deep experience, forged in that long battle, is the tool that's needed to find the signal inside all that noise. Sure, others will get there, they'll arrive later, but the initiates have to lead the way.
And so, this entire story, this whole prophecy of a new dawn, it leaves us with one critical question we all have to ask ourselves. After the long battle, the glorious rupture, and the chaotic storm, are you on the path?